Fighter time! Hello and welcome to another figure video, not a review. It's about a theme. Today, I'm gonna talk about and show you my collection of Street Fighter figures. There's some here, there's some there and whatnot. And you might be wondering, you already do like an entire collection video every year. And I like doing that, and I'm gonna continue to do that. But for this video in particular, I want to have a more detailed look on it. I want to have more of a story time, if you might, if you want to say it like that. I don't know, I don't have a complete idea how I want to call this entire project. But anyway, it's a collection video of the Street Fighter characters, and I'm going to go a little bit more into detail how I got them, why I got them, yada 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 yada, and that stuff. Which I don't really have time for an entire collection video because it's already like an hour-long video. And I don't want to make it 2 or 3 or 5 or whatever. So, strap yourselves in as we have a look at some Street Fighter figures. Hadouken! It all started in the year 1999 or early 2000s, depending on where you got them. It's the Street Fighter Resaurus line, and this is really taking me back. This is actually one of the first things I ever got in figure form. Because here's the deal. Back in the early 2000s, we all had video game stores, and you had barely any, well, not around here, barely any comic book stores. They're like, this entire nerd culture hadn't exploded yet. So walking into a video game store and seeing those random Resaurus figures standing around, I was mind blown. It was just like, what is this? Figures of like Street Fighter characters, all with a nice little base and whatnot. And you had all the classics, you had everybody you like. There's like a randomized line, and it has nothing to do with this video. But you have your Kens, your Ryus, and just like with the SOTA Toys or whatever, just like every Street Fighter line, they actually already set the standard of making different color variations of them. And you got Chun-Li, and you had a couple, you had the old school ones, and you had a couple of Street Fighter 3 guys. I think that was Necro, was his name. This Chun-Li has nothing to do with the Resaurus line, so I don't even know where this one was from. I guess it was a Capcom Girls collection. I just decided to get that one because I wanted a Chun-Li in the Alpha costume, which is like not one that people like, but hey, more variety. And then you have Blanca and Akuma, well, Akuma and Blanca. And Akuma was actually the first one I got, even has like light piping, you have his eyes. His hair is see-through plastic, so we have the glowing eyes if you got a little bit of light in there. And the most important aspect of this is just, to me, it means so much to me because that was the first, one of the first figures I ever had was like the, I think the Akuma and Ryu. I think that was like the first ones, and then eventually I got a couple of more. Now as far as figures go, they are not the greatest because it's, like I'm saying, old. And they weren't super expensive back then as well. And it's a weird thing of like, it's half figure and half statue. Blanca has a loose swivel, but anyway, you just have the swivel, and then you have a hinge which you can, well, that happened. You have a hinge which you can up and down, rotation in the shoulders, and maybe swivel in the hand, and that's about it. You could move the legs back and forth, but you don't really get much out of it because, as you can tell, the feet is like angle and whatnot, and you have the nice base to display it, so why not use that? About 13 years later, I would move on to Play Out Sky, which I'm going chronologically how I experienced it. Well, we will see. Anyway, Play Out Sky, I was a big fan of it back in the day. That was like, you had the Metal Gear figures, and you had a bunch of Final Fantasy, which I didn't really collect, but you had a wide variety, and they even dipped their toes in some Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition, but they didn't really have that many, and I wasn't too much of a fan of it. But then they released Sakura, and for the record, I'm not a big fan of Sakura as a character, but it was one that was just executed oh so well, with the knees and the entire design, articulation of the figure was a lot better than other Play Out Sky figures. So they were a little bit biased in that regard, because looking at the Ryu, it's still a cool looking figure, it has shading, the coloring and whatnot, but look at how narrow the torso is, look at these big knees, like I appreciate that it's molded, But still, the main reason I got this one is because I like the black repaint, and I found one fairly cheap on eBay after they had all been sold out and somebody was trying to get rid of their stock and whatnot. I mean, overall, it does look like Street Fighter 4. It does have the design and whatnot. That's not a problem with it. But it's just like, yeah, the narrow torso, somewhat looking weird. And you haven't even seen the worst one of the bunch, which is this Chun-Li, which is falling apart. There's a... yeah, this butterfly joint is broken. I thought I glued it in. Or did I... is the other one broken? I think they're both broken, maybe. Old figures, to be fair. But, now overall, same thing. I like the figure, I like the paint job. I like the black and the red repaint. She has some super muscular legs. That is accurate to the game. But here's the main problem. Ah! What is that knee joint? What is that? What is that? What is that? Yeah, don't bend the knees of this figure. So when I saw the Sakura figure, I was like, wow, they got knees. Also this is like, this one is just like so loose. I don't know. Not a great look for Players Kai over the years, but I bought these ones original. Before you go ahead and I probably have bootleg. I don't collect bootlegs, guys, if it doesn't have the official stuff on there. But yeah, overall, Players Kai, I mean, for the record, the articulation here is definitely a huge step up from the Resaurus which we just had. And the Players Kai does like, it was one of the first lines that I really got invested in, as such as like high quality collector's figures, Japanese lines from Japanese companies and whatnot, and I really got hooked on it. I liked the size at the time, but overall, as you can tell by what I'm reviewing now and whatnot, I kind of saw it on Players Kai. I actually have some over here, so I'm just gonna show you that real quick. Got the legs move back and forth out. It's a little bit more limited, but it was still cool at the time. Got like big ball hinges everywhere, but overall, yeah, it's good figures. The main thing why I saw it on Players Kai is because the figures were getting worse, but the prices were going up, which is kind of like what Figma doing right now, aren't they? Aren't they? But anyway, Players Kai, they're still around apparently. They're doing new Final Fantasy VII Remake figures now, which I'm really surprised because I hadn't heard about Players Kai in a long time, and then suddenly they were like, we're back guys, we're doing that stuff, and I gotta say that Eri and Tifa are looking mighty juicy. I'm like, maybe, I don't know. I don't want. No! You're down here, huh? A couple of years later, I would discover something that's now known, well, for a long time it was known as the Street Fighter line to get. The line of Street Fighter articulated figures, it's SOTA Collectibles. Really, the kings of the, I think those come out in like mid-2000s, but I only found out about them way later. So, for the longest time, this was the must-have, because you have the entire line, you had like so many different characters, and they are all super articulated for the time. And at the price point at where they originally sold, it was the total package, and you had all kinds of recolors. You have your original Guile, you had like the comb and whatnot. He came with all the accessories you needed. I don't think they had, well, some of them had energy effects, others didn't. But overall, it's just the selection. The articulation was something we hadn't really seen at the time. So I started picking some of them up. You have like Chun-Li in a very nice looking repaint, and they made like so many repaints, which is, it's kind of gotten tradition to do repaints of like fighting game characters because that's what the games are doing. So we gotta blame the games, we can't blame the companies. But overall, you got a bunch of cool stuff. I'm not gonna take everybody out, but just for the articulation, it's mostly like big hinges and swivels and whatnot. It's overall pretty good, like I'm saying. At the time, there was the thing, there was the stuff. That was the best thing you could get. Now, it still holds up, although, just like in fighting games, there came a lot of new challengers.
Now, find a new rival.
And the one to rule them all, if you want my humble opinion, would be Storm Collectibles. Now, I don't need to go into great detail about Storm because I think I reviewed pretty much all of these, and I've always sung the praises of how nice they are done. The molds, the overall articulation, accessories, it's something that we haven't seen before. And overall, I like the bigger, bulkier sizes, which was something that the Playarts Kai kind of did right. You have like these fighting game characters, which are larger than life, big muscly dudes, and powerful females. So you don't want them to be like tiny, tiny action figures. You want something a little bit more big, and Storm Collectibles muscle work is just, look at that. Doesn't he look like snack ladies? I don't know, there's like really not much I can complain about. I'm a big fan, I'm a big supporter of the Storm line, even though some releases have been a little bit hit and miss, but that's some more muscly goodness. Also the sizes, you have like smaller figures, you have like bigger figures, and they do that correctly, they do them justice. Well, Geef might have been a little bit too small, but if it really is a little bit too small, it's just by a little bit. But to round off the entire story of Street Fighter figures, we also have the SH Figuarts, which weirdly enough, they kind of started rolling out after Storm had already begun, but I decided still to pick them up, and I don't know. It was a weird timing where I was just like, okay, this is cool, but I have these, and I have also these, but I like the Figuarts line, don't get me wrong on that, but it's just like, at the same time, you have the Storm Collectibles, which is, it's better. I feel it's better. You can debate about that, you know. Let me know in the comments which line do you prefer. But anyway, here's a Blanca. And again, like I'm saying, I'm not really having a big look at these guys as far as articulation goes, because I have a whole bunch of Street Fighter videos. I don't know if I made a playlist, but that would be a good time to make one. You know, Storm Collectibles, SH Figuarts, you see the reviews on the channel if you want to look at every character individually that you see over here. There's like Storm Collectibles Classics, and then there's the SH Figuarts. This is He-Man. This has nothing to do with anything. Now that wasn't all of it. That was all of the articulated stuff, but I also have stuff that's not articulated. I don't know, I sometimes talk about it, but back in the day I was a big statue guy. I was more into statues because I was just like, you know, articulation and whatnot kind of break up the sculpt, and it does break up the sculpt. So I was like, this looks a lot cleaner, this looks a lot nicer. So I was into statues, and this is also like the, what was it? This was also SOTA. SOTA also did statues, super highly detailed. I love them, also like limited and whatnot. Big fan of those. I only got my hands only on a couple of them. And also, always was just interested in the one I really like King Sagat and Blanca. I was a big Blanca guy when I was a kid. Mostly because of the fact, as a kid, you didn't know how to do crap in the game. But you knew how to make like the electric move. Because everybody can figure out how to spam a button. I don't know how to do quarter circle forward when I'm like 8 years old, but mashing a button? Hell yeah. I don't know, was I 8? I think I was younger. But I have this diorama, which this one I have never actually reviewed because it's just, I guess it's kind of a pain to review it. I might do it. I might go back on it. You guys let me know if you want to see more of this, like in a proper review. But yeah, this is Akuma vs. Goken, which is not a piece I did pick up because I found it fairly cheap, limited edition. 70, is that 75 or is that 15 of 300? There's only 300 of those? Damn. I got good stuff. No, but anyway, they were trying to get rid of that. I don't even know what the store was. Somebody posted that on YouTube, on Facebook. And I've never been to that store, and it was like a European store, and I was just like looking at stuff because they were having the sale and they had that on there, and I was like, great, I get it. Awesome stuff.
Final round!
And I guess the final piece are some of the female characters I got in my girls' corner. You know, like, same thing with Jury. This was one of the last ones, I think, that SOTA did. This is also like a, yeah, this is also SOTA Street Fighter, Super Street Fighter 4 Jury version. This one is, I'm a big fan of Jury, so I had to get this one as well. So that was like my, I really wanted an Akuma I really wanted the Akuma figure from SOTA, but that one's really hard to find. And if you find it, almost impossible to pay. So I'm not down with that overall. What else do we have? We have like the Cami in the back. There it is, kind of like there. Armika and Chun-Li in the back, and that's really it. That's actually it. That's actually it. And this concludes my little trip down memory lane about all my Street Fighter figures. Really a big history, and I wanted to do that because, as you've seen, as I said, with the Resaurus figures, that was like the thing where I'm not 100% sure that's really where it all began, but it was a big part all these years back when I started collecting figures, and look what I have now. It's a little bit, I lost control. I have a problem. No, but anyway, thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I might do some more theming videos where I take a theme, I take a line, I take an idea, a show, a video game, and I show you all my figures of it. When there's something interesting in my head, where there's something I want to talk about, I'll let you know. So that's gonna do it. As usual, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget, if you enjoyed this review, hit it up with a like and subscribe to the channel so you can stay tuned for more figure reviews, card game stuff, and whatever Street Fighter wants.